Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich coming to you with some more Normandy 44 Steel Division, or flip that back around if you want to make it the more proper way. Steel Division Normandy 44. I am bringing you what, to my knowledge, is one of the first multiplayer games cast now out there in the ether on YouTube. This one going on between the 3rd Armored under the command of Apolio, and the 17th SS Panzergrenadier coming under FRA Marneus. We take a quick look at both players' kind of starting position. We're going to slow this down for half a second. We'll see tons and tons of Schimmelwagens coming on out, as well as some, oh my gosh, KFZs. What the heck is it's a basically kind of the German deuce and a half. Not quite an Opel Blitz, but pretty darn close. So lots and lots of early infantry, including a leader coming out the front. Meanwhile, on the western side, well, in the center part, we're going to see some more Schimmelwagens, excuse me. I'm so excited. I've had my coffee this morning, so I'm kind of, it's really difficult for me to speak very, very slowly. And over here in the west, we're going to see a 221 backed up by another squad of infantry. Definitely moving forward to take and push back the Americans on their side of the map. Backing them all up is an early Stug. That's a Stug 3, by the way, so this thing has mounting a fairly good cannon. Not, fantastic perhaps, but still pretty darn good. Meanwhile, for the Americans, they've already sprinted out with some of their own recon troops using a Jeep mounting 30 cals in the back. We have a half-track shifting on forwards, and what did he bring up with him? 57 mil, looks like? Yes. Okay, so running about half speed right now. We'll speed back up in just a second here. Another 57 mil in the middle with a half-track backing that up, and some more scouts. So the Americans going for a very, very light early build here. 57 mils across the entire direction. And kind of understandable when you think about it. First of all, see the position of these 57 millimeters. Once he sees the enemy, these things are in decent position. Okay, maybe not this one. This one's a little bit less so. If he shifted it over just a little bit more, he could have fantastic line of sight down that road. This last 57 millimeter, just barely out of where he wants it to be. I'd suggest putting it right on the edge of these trees. He could have incredible line of sight. But looking to stave off an early armored push, which would happen from the Panzergrenadiers. Coming in the meantime as well, some more troops coming on in. Germans just kind of deploying themselves out of a Flak 36, setting himself up. These guys are pretty darn good against aircraft, but no less deadly against infantry for obvious reasons. And an MG42 shifting on up. I'm trying to figure out, will we see the Grenadiers pushing into these houses? Not quite yet. The map itself is Pointe de Hoc, which means that we're going to see probably a lot of engagement over this group of houses here. This probably control this crossroad, and good lord, already we're seeing an ammo explosion. Yep, that 57 millimeter excellently placed, like I said, dominating that early position right down the edge of that road. And with that, the Germans are already getting kind of beat up. Strasstruppen over here, they are very, very heavily armed for early phase A material, having a lot of Panzerfausts, K98s. What was it? Wait, K98s, or is that a 38? No, these guys are actually technically kind of like Russian armed troops using captured PPSs. And that by itself is a really interesting story too, to examine really how the Germans were kind of in awe of the amount of firepower put down by this semi-automatic machine gun, the submachine gun, and the sheer amount of value they placed on it, realizing that a lot of firepower control depended on just being able to spray aimed fire like crazy. Over here in the west, we did see this poor Jeep went down, and I think this half-track went down as well. My guess is because of that Stug. I could not say for sure, unfortunately, but there's a lot more Germans coming on in, and I don't think that Apolio really realized how much material was over here. Taking a quick look at him right now, he only sees a little bit of it.
Enemy spotted.
But he's starting to see a little bit more. His scouts are so far forward, and they are just not going to engage, one hopes. And, oh no, the Strasstruppen might be able to take out this Jeep if this guy's not careful. Taking a little bit of firepower right now. Reloading, oh no, jeez, okay. So, that Panzerfaust is barely missing. But at least in the eastern side, it seems the Germans have things under control for right now. A Pak 40 might have something a little bit different to say about it. Although we did see a couple of German units now falling under surrender right there. Now, I've been informed that the surrender in this particular game is you have to have your opponent completely stressed out, which is to say that red bar above these things, you see right now, for example, says engaged. If he's pinned, oof, that Stuart coming in and completely getting wrecked immediately. Good positioning there from that Strug as well as the Flak 37. No, excuse me, no, it's actually an early Sherman, M4A1. Still learning the silhouettes, guys, please bear with me. But over here, what was I saying? Oh yes, surrendering. So surrendering, slow it down a little bit more to give you an idea what I'm talking about. This thing right here, for example, see how it says shaken? So the state of mind, if it gets completely and totally filled up, and then the territory from shifts around you from your opponent, then your guys might surrender, and that's going to be a negative position for you overall. And a shot came out, was not from the Stormtrooper, no, instead it was from this pack. This pack's doing some good work already. He's aiming again. I think he's going to have some fire against this Jeep. And a very, very early map dominance coming out for the Germans. This poor aircraft, which I can't select for some reason, is falling back, getting wrecked by the Flak 37, not Flak 36, excuse me, 37mm, but a Flak 36. And I'm shocked that these Stoßtruppen are not putting a Faust into the side. There we go. There we go. I'm going to put some firepower back into those infantry, but he's super, super close. I'm thinking that this should be a Panzerfaust. Yes, and there he goes, leaving the Germans controlling 54-55% of the map. The Jeep in the eastern side going down as well. So things don't look good early on for Apolio. Just going to give you guys a status of the entire battlefield. See a lot of Panzer Grenadiers shifting on forwards, but these guys don't have any kind of anti-tank weapons. Really, a major push for them is right around the center line, and you can see that these guys are in very, very strong position, controlling this town area. They don't quite see the recon, and if he was able to see him, I imagine he'd be pushing even more aggressively, but there's not a lot in terms of early German observation material. Now some more half-tracks are coming on forward. This guy got shot at a little bit. He's a little bit stressed. He's backing up now. But that Pack 40 is still dominating this area in the same way that this early 57mm did. And this is kind of to be expected. The 17 SS Panzergrenadier have a very strong phase 1. A lot of infantry, a lot of very, very good pushing power, but the 3rd Armor kind of ramps up as you get further and further into this game. As you can see just by terms of supply, 3rd Armor starts at only 65 every 10 seconds, getting 105 in Phase B, which is coming pretty soon, but just not quite soon enough perhaps. And then closing out with 150. Meanwhile, Marneus, he is getting basically his strongest position now. He jumps up quite a bit for Phase B, and then Phase C he barely sees any increase. The Panzer Grenadiers kind of taking some very, very hard hits as the game progresses. Now this 57mm that had done some decent work seems to have taken out... Has he taken out that Stug? The Stug is gone, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know where that thing... Oh, he tried to get across the road and he took a shot to the side armor. So that might shift back a little bit of the balance of power in the center part of the map. Now, to be fair, there will still need probably some artillery to shift back this positioning. But meanwhile, over on the western side, this Sherman, backed up by this Command Stewart, have pinned down these Grenadiers, and these guys had 10 kind of squad in the first place, now they're just pinned instead. So these guys are not doing particularly well, and the Sherman's just gaining a lot of experience really over time here. But okay, the Germans seem to be trying to combat that. My guess he's bringing... Ooh, whoa! Flak 36 putting more fire into this poor observation craft. The Panzer Grenadier is not able to stand up to firepower like that. Have to back away. So Pack 40 coming forward? Yes, 75mm setting up right here. Going to get some good shots as the tanks move along this road. And indeed, if you want to check this out, let's get down here a little bit more. So looking right back there, some crazy, crazy firing lines. And this very nice, beautiful map over here. See, first shot going to be coming out onto this M4. The question is, will it take it out immediately? It probably could. I kind of want to see that opening salvo come on out. And the Shermans have no idea that they're there. No observation troops over here on the western side for the Americans. And there goes the Sherman. Apolio taking devastating losses in Phase A here. Getting pushed back pretty much across the board. He's got some rifles in over here. These guys are pretty well armed with Zooks and Garands and carbines. And against initial Strasstruppen, it might be enough. It's not going to be easy, mind you, but it might be enough. And there's just so much data in this game that's honestly still rather fantastic. And a Greyhound coming on out for the Americans, pushing on forward to kind of give them some more perspective, let's say. While in the center part of the field, it's kind of stayed into a little bit of a stalemate. Marneus not really wanting to push forward and lose the advantage that he does have. And the Americans, I think, are finally starting to stir themselves and beginning to fight. More rifles are coming on in. I would like to see some artillery getting brought in as well, but no, just see lots and lots of infantry. Take a look real quick over at Apolio. So Apolio doesn't see anything on the western side. He knows there's an anti-tank gun somewhere over here, just because of where this poor tank got wrecked. But he doesn't really have a whole lot, very good clue, I would argue. And in the meantime, is he still, please, bring in some sort of, okay, no, is he bringing in some MGs instead? So he doesn't really know what's facing him, and that's kind of interesting. Meanwhile, Marneus has absolutely no idea. He is sitting in just defensive positions, throwing up more and more infantry here and there. Neither guy really seems to know what's going on. They're kind of marshaling their forces, and I guess for the Allies right now, going into Phase B, this allows them to bring in some more strong, I would say, tank options. But it does the same for Marneus' troops. You can see that Stroke 4 coming on in. This guy replacing his fallen brother in the center part of the map. But indeed, we will see rifles shifting on in, and I'm thinking there's a push happening for this house right here. It doesn't control a ton, but if he can put a wedge into the German lines, he might be able to carve off quite a good piece. Whatever his decision, though, he's got to start taking some territory, and soon. Because he is falling behind quite a bit. Now, okay, so he's got... Whoa!
Get out of here.
Whoa! A Focke-Wulf 190 coming on in after this kind of grasshoppery rocket gun here. Honestly, I admit I haven't used that much of this material right here, but this guy, I did not realize he actually had, like, rockets. Dear God. Doing some good damage, pinning down that Pack 40, but with
Loaded, sir.
an HMG shifting up, and all of his half-tracks just terrified. Not much is really being done initially. Rifles are creeping on in, though, and we're seeing an anti-aircraft gun coming on in instead. Stug is deployed up here in the meantime, Pack 40 over to the western side, and infantry really consolidating the German position. I'm not really appreciating kind of Apolio, excuse me, his tactical decisions just yet, but he is shifting rifles up through the trees. So I do think we're going to be seeing a push against this house. He's got to know that there's something there. But both guys just kind of marshaling their troops for the next big push. Another command Sherman coming on in. Command Stewart still exists over here to the west. And what is this? Okay, we have actually a Pack 43 out. This guy is dangerous. Dangerous, my friends. And I'm not too sure if Apolio waits too much longer, Marneus' troops are going to be entrenched way too much. I'm trying to figure out what he's really trying to do here. These recon troops have to see eastern side. And instead of just seeing riflemen kind of shift slowly forward. I mean, great that they're using cover, but it would be better to see them hitting a position or two. Okay, he's got to be able to see. There we go. He sees all this infantry in this house. He's putting tons and tons of fire on top of it.
Enemy spotted.
But the Strasstruppen are doing pretty darn well against it. Giving much better than they're getting. Dear God, they're carving that first group of rifles to pieces. HMG now, though, putting fire into him. It might be enough to take him out. We might lose a squad of rifles in the meantime. But, yep, there go the rifles. This HMG still putting fire in, and these guys over here, yep, there's one squad down, and I believe we might even see another one getting picked off. Yep, surrendering. So the rifles are beginning that counter push and allowing Apolio to start driving up this center line. The Germans, in the meantime, starting to slide in some observation over here in the center part of the field. He has absolutely no idea what's going on, really. They're putting a lot of infantry over here to his... what is that, his western side? This be... okay, well, let's just say to his right. How about that? Rifles trying to push on through, though, continuing to push into these Strasstruppen, and these guys are excellent, excellent up and close. The rifles, much less so. You can see him pinned down and probably surrender in just a second or two. No, we'll just getting taken out altogether. Dear God, that was fast. But Apolio, again, his troops are starting to carve that wedge. With half-tracks in the area, it might be enough to allow him some fire suppression. Whatever his decision, he's got to make it soon. We're going to see a mortar half-track getting popped on out over here, giving him an opportunity to start throwing rounds into this bad boy in the area. Try to take out that town structures, but he's not making that decision just yet. No, sir, he's coming in behind the Strasstruppen, and while the Schimmenwagens are trying to come in and around, it looks like the Americans just punched a hole in the German lines. Not quite taking back 50% of the map. Indeed, that's going to be rather difficult. But this machine gun right here controls a good portion of the countryside. And with the recon units right here, he should be able to hold on for a little bit longer yet. I hadn't quite appreciated, though, how much firepower those PPSs and MP40s can do. Whew, that was kind of intense. Those guys held up the Americans for quite a bit of time. So yes, anti-personal value, pretty awesome. There's so much data in this game, it's easy to get completely and totally lost in all of it, but it's really quite accessible once you realize what most of the values do mean. You kind of just... it's very intuitive, all things considered. Phase 3 not for another 3 minutes and 45 seconds, and the Americans are down almost 1,000 points. I'm kind of wondering when that push is going to happen for Apolio. We do know this Flak 36 is doing a pretty good amount of damage over here, and he can easily penetrate this half-track, I believe. We'll take a look at his armor. Okay, his armor is not great on the sides. And HE, okay, so it's HE rounds as opposed to AP, and that's probably the only thing keeping that half-track alive for the moment. Aha, and this Stug now might be getting some action. Yep, he's putting fire into this half-track, and he's going to take him out in just like one shot. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Yep, there he goes. So that position that the Americans did have is not going anywhere near as well as they thought it would. We've always seen the Germans rushing across an open field, and it's really just lucky for him that Flak 36 was able to pin back those rifles. That would have been an easily taken charge. Instead, now we're going to finally see the half-track putting fire into these charging Germans, stressing them out quite a bit, not able really to see them push back 100% though. Over here in the west, what we're seeing a large collection of armored troops. But again, okay, this M8, this Staghound.
I want to go home.
Poor guy. Poor guy. He's under attack. He's even pinned. 57mm. Okay, wow. So 57mm getting some good work against that Stug. So the Stug went on in and is not probably going to get out easily. No, Cruz is knocked out again and again. The Staghound trying to get some line of sight over here to help his armored push on the west. And wait, can this 57mm take out the Stug on retreat? He's falling back right now. Bouncing. Unfortunately, not quite yet. Not quite yet, my friends. Another Stug coming on in, and I'm just waiting for this thing to get that last round down. No, he doesn't, though. It's unlucky. And this Pack 40 got shifted, so now that position, which was so deadly before against the Allied armor, is slowly becoming better and better. He's got to get way far away over here to the western side. And if the Allied armor was just able just to hug this tree line, it would be perfect. It would allow him to kind of sneak out and really put fire into the German right, the Allied left, but not quite yet. More infantry being thrown to the Allied right. Both players can tend to let the middle sit as it stands right now. Mortar, in the meantime, again, I'm hoping he really starts putting fire down at a distance here. He's aiming, and I'm not sure where he's going to put that shot, though. Excuse me real quick, guys. I have to go get myself a little bit of a sneeze. I don't want to be coughing on stream here. And the P-38 Lightning coming in, trying to put fire into the Focke-Wulf. In the meantime, throwing down a rocket strike against that Pak-40 position. And yes, he's putting it out perfectly placed. The first round's coming on in, doing good damage. Another Focke-Wulf coming in after the P-38, but that's not going to help it out too much. And indeed, as the Stugs move over to the western side, and this Pak-40 is pinned down, good opportunity right here for the Americans. Yep, they're going to put fire into this Flak 38. This stag count's not going to last too long. But between the Stuart... Okay, so wait. Does Apolio see? He doesn't even see the... Oh my gosh, he doesn't see the other position. That's terrible. That's awful. That's unlucky. Once this thing gets back into the fight, those Shermans are going to get wrecked. Well, the Sherman and the Stuart, for that matter. In the meantime, how are we looking over here? Well, half-track was in the center part of the field, got pushed and taken out by the Stug, and the 57mm fell back in face of that that shove. Engineers, interesting. So here's a little bit of engineers. These guys have satchel charges, or excuse me, TNT, that are really great against good positions here. Ooh, and there we go. So Stug taking out that Stuart. Meanwhile, that Sherman's just getting wrecked again. A new Pak-40 in on the field. So Sherman getting shredded yet again. But now we're in Phase C. I don't know about you guys, but it actually feels like it kind of flies through. Smoke rounds coming out from the mortar half-track. But it doesn't seem to be enough, really, for the Americans. And indeed, it doesn't know like Apolio really has an idea of how to get in here. He waited an awful long time, and I think that's really starting to play against him. This Stug is going to put fire into this 57mm. Will he hit or miss is the question. Bouncing these rounds like crazy. This poor 57mm not getting the work done that he needs to. Bouncing, and again, that poor anti-tank position getting taken out. Infantry not able to break the stalemate. And indeed, here comes two Focke-Wulfs just kind of patrolling the area, looking to make sure that they can keep the Allied material at bay. But they're gonna get a little bit close to this Bofors, I think. This Bofors should be able to put a couple of rounds in. No, he's not. He's not, ladies and gentlemen, just kind of hanging out. Half-tracks in the meantime falling back, all of them stressed like crazy. They'll calm it down a little bit, but that Pak-40 75mm at the rear is going to put some decent damage in. I am looking to see some heavy American tanks, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen, even though this is when the Axis is going to be the weakest here. So as the Focke-Wulfs have combat air patrol, the Shugs just kind of shift from left to right. There's so many anti-tank positions now that the West is pretty much locked down. These tanks are not going to do anything. I'm kind of disappointed that Apolio is not putting more fire down, again, in this area. He's got to know. He knows that there is a position over here. He knows there's a position right here. He might as well be using all the ammo up that he has. But neither guy really willing to risk what's left of his army. Apolio to the east, able to see only a little bit.
Enemy sighted.
Sees bits and pieces here and there. Doesn't know what kind of infantry is there, but he knows it's something. Stoßtruppen, again, just kind of hanging out. A lot of these guys just chilling. I think Apolio might be just kind of relaxing at this point, kind of saying, you know what? We're kind of screwed anyway, but, you know, let's give this a go. No, he's finally trying to push forward. He might be looking to see a seam again between the German lines. Kind of felt like he blew it a long time ago by not taking this position right here, but, you know, that tends to happen. Ooh, these poor riflemen getting pinned down in the open field. And the P-38 Lightning coming on in. It's a big airstrike. rockets away like crazy, looking to pin down this infantry. Might be enough. Might not be. Pinned down. He has no infantry, unfortunately, to follow this up. His own guy is getting pinned before he can move forward and take that position. And that is stupidly unlucky. A Junker 87 coming on in, though, and now we have 51 Mustangs. Should be able to put a lot of pressure into the Junker. Might even be able to take it out. Focke-Wulf coming on in for air superiority as well. Both fighter planes going after one another. And this 51 Mustang's probably going to have to back off right... Yep, there he goes. I think the Allied position is pretty hopeless here. Didn't push at all with the kind of material that he needed to. He's got a 76mm out, and these things are super, super deadly to tanks. But you kind of have to actually be aggressive enough to position them properly. And indeed, I don't think the Allies have the position necessary anymore. Let's speed this up a tiny bit, see if we can't see some more good tanks coming out. And for A1 sliding over here to the west, maybe? No, he's just running off the map, it looks like. I don't know if that's even what he's doing or not. But a curious decision. And at long last, you know what, he might be able to push forward by just starving all these units of the actual ammo that they do have. Apolio, what are you seeing here, my friend? He finally does see the Pak-43. And Marneus just kind of says, yo, bro, whatever, man, I don't care. Like, I have this entire position locked down. And think about it, he really has a pretty good spot here. Panzergrenadiers maybe not seeing a lot of material immediately, but he's backed up by a good line of anti-tank positions in depth. Controlling this road right over here on this western side. What's he seeing over here, this half-track? Okay. And this Pak-40 over here, not a great spot. He might be able to get off one single round into this half-track. Actually, let's see if that does happen. I don't know if it will or not. And he's taking out the recon finally. He has seen it for so many years, or he hasn't seen it for so long, but now he finally does pick it off. And Apolio just dithers his time away.
Be ready.
Again, this guy, okay, I will say for myself, guys, for those of you out there who are not entirely sure about how to play this game, this is not how you play from Apolio's side. If you have munitions, there is a way to bring in other trucks and the like. But sitting tight and kind of playing for this super, super slow game, no. That's not what you should be doing. You have munitions for a reason. This guy's got 50 rounds of HE and 20 rounds of smoke. I'd be throwing this thing down like crazy. Doesn't seem like he's willing to do that, though. Oh my gosh, Junker 88 coming on in. Bombs away, my friend. Question is, will it hit the Bofors? Like, this crazy amounts of damage. Not taking it out 100%, but opening the way, I would argue, for this next bombing run. The question is, the Focke-Wulf? No, he's not. Oh my gosh, he is making an air run, a ground run rather. Not often seen. Fuel explosion over here on this half-track. So, yep, on both sides, we'll see this Mustang's trying to get in here after the Focke-Wulfs. And if he can take out one of them, that might be a bit of hope for his air game. There he goes, he gets one, but in the meantime, more Focke-Wulfs coming right back in. I'm wondering if he's going to put some air suppression again. He's got an open blitz munitions truck coming in to resurface his flak position, and you know, let's see if we get a nice little shot of this poor guy going out into the ocean. Sploosh. Yep. Poor Mustang. Okay, so what is the final opportunity here? Well, we get scouts coming in with 11 minutes left to go. And what the heck is this? A flak truck? Okie dokie. Flak truck and another flak truck. Curious decisions. Command Sherman way the heck back here for some god-awful reason. And the flak 36 is finally getting resurfaced, so a little more material coming in right there. And this Pak-40 excellently placed. He's going to take one half-track after another. You'll see another shot coming on through, stressing out these half-tracks like crazy. And there we go, finally getting the 76mm forward, but not soon enough. Indeed, Scout car goes down. 51 Mustang, excuse me, Lightnings come on in, trying to take out the Pack 40s, but getting pinned is not the same as getting rid of it. And Focke-Wulfs might be able... Yep, there goes one Lightning. And the Lightning strikes twice, but not quite enough to see it do its final deadly deed. At long freaking last, after 30 minutes of these guys being here, finally the mortar half-track starts pounding down the town square. I'm not sure what the heck took him so long to decide to do that. And indeed, yep, here comes another bomb run, another Junker attack, taking out the mortar half-track. So the last bit of artillery support is now gone. Focke-Wulf coming in after the Mustang. Mustang not able to handle both that and ground fire. He's going to get forced back. There's lots and lots of air power here, and I kind of, anti-air power over here from the Americans, but it's not quite enough. Indeed, you do see a Beaufort's getting taken out, even as all these other 50 cals start lighting up. The Focke-Wulf as it just heads for home. You can see right there that the German team owns 70% of the points needed to win, and imagine you see total victory in 9 minutes. Kind of wondering, will we see 9 minutes, or will we see a quicker push than that? The Allies seem to finally be rousing themselves to fight. Still don't have any sort of heavy tanks in the area. They finally are going to see an M4A3E2, which is a supremely upgunned Sherman. A bunch of machine guns. And now Strook's coming in at the same time, so it may not be the best time for it anyway. Rousing himself to fight is finally the American push. The question is, has a line been set already by the Panzergrenadier? And in my mind, that answer is yes. These engineers come on in. You do see fire coming down on this German center right, try to take out this Pack 40. But if this thing gets 1 or 2 more shots off, which is possible, maybe not likely, never mind, there it goes. So finally we're seeing an anti-tank position getting taken out. Big problem, though, will be the Stug. The Stug's got another 9 rounds of HE. He's got a ton of armor piercing, and he's got a ton of machine gun ammo. So I don't know if the Allies can get that final resurgence. And indeed another bombing run coming on, and these, oh my gosh, the 500 SC-500. I'm not sure it's a 500-pound bomb or what it is, but I think the 76mm might get taken out. Oh, no, close. The bombing run just barely misses. But ground attack coming in instead. And the question is, was AA half-track get what it needs to do? No fuel explosion on 1. And despite all the ground fire, this Junker 87 manages to get himself right back out again. So very, very brave and very well done, frankly. Panzergrenadiers catching these guys and enfilading fire with a Stoßtruppen, and might even cause them to surrender, maybe? We'll see. We'll see. Focke-Wulf coming on in. And again, I'm very, very impressed with usage by Marneus for using ground fire here. There's tons and tons of anti-air in the form of just tons and tons of machine guns, but he has air superiority, but just been dominating like crazy. Finally losing one of his Focke-Wulfs. And I want to see it run into something, but it hasn't happened just yet. Oops, don't know what happened there. Don't know if the Americans are trying to lock down again and try to pierce out their way through. But it's slowly happening. Never mind. Every single time I think it's going to happen, it just doesn't again. So where is that upgunned jumbo? Okay, so we have a couple of very, very heavy Shermans shifting on forwards and tons of machine gun ammo in the form of all these AA half-tracks, but that don't do jack diddly. And there's a Stug, and frankly all these anti-tank positions. And also considering the amount of air losses that the Americans have taken, I don't know. Might see a surrender? No, not quite. Engineers actually getting shot to pieces. I don't know if the Americans can do anything about this. Indeed, you do see engineers trying to push forward and getting shredded. Those poor guys, the last remnants of their squads. And The Mustang pretty much just having a little bit of combat air patrol, just in theory, trying to keep his forces safe from enemy ground attack. Sherman's finally moving on forwards, not really able to see a whole lot now, is he? No, not really. Scouts? Are the scouts actually attacking? So that'd be a bad idea. No, it's somebody else's bouncing rounds. Okay, oh, Stewart's bouncing rounds against this Strug. Not easy to put rounds into that Strug, but he might be able to cause enough discomfort that that thing backs away. Mustang making a gun run against these Junkers, but the Junkers are pretty much unmolested. Well, by him, anyway. And these are the ground attacks he's using their cannons. So a fuel explosion taking out one Sherman already. The Focke-Wulf's in the area as well. Dear God, there's so much ground fire. I'm surprised that both those guys even made as far as it did. Two Focke-Wulfs going down, plummeting to the earth, dying almost within meters of each other. But doing exactly what they needed to do, which is to blunt the push from the Americans. At long last, we are going to see a mobile howitzer carriage coming forward. Maybe going to drop some rounds in this area here. But I think we've seen the last real American push, especially as another Junker comes on in. Bombs away. He's going to take out the Jumbo Sherman. No, he doesn't, but he does take out one of those half-tracks. So guys, if you want to see Marneus, an example of how to play the Grenadier, Marneus is definitely providing that. You very, very early set up a nice defensive position using your Stoßtruppen to take buildings as well as hold down key points on the map. Set them back up with a couple of packed 40s. Or really, frankly, even that early stroke that you can bring into Phase A, and you can really lock down against a lighter opponent in a super early game. The third armor, in the meantime, guys, don't take this as an example of weakness from them. Indeed, these guys are supremely good as the game moves forward. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like Apolio really used them as best as he could. Add in the same time as well that since this game is still in beta, a lot of strategies here have not been, let's call it, supremely honed just yet. Zooks are in the air. Could they put some fire into that? Nope, they're not going to. Fuel explosion, there that goes. That's unfortunate right there. Germans are pinned down a little bit. Stoßtruppen in the area to back them up, as is a Strug and more Panzergrenadiers. Pack 43 shifting on up. Interesting, my dear. Very interesting. And just look at all the ammo they're expending, just keeping the Americans pinned down. 3 and 4 different squads as the Junker comes in almost on cooldown. Dropping back in again. He's going to take out this other AA half-track. I think he might. Bomb run impacts just barely on target, and there he goes. Another Junker comes on in. And yes, I think also as well that Apolio did not utilize his tanks over here to the western side well. Indeed, he should have had a lot more infantry to support that initial push. Of course, this Junker might buy it now. There's so much anti-air fire. I'm surprised he's making it anywhere close out of this. No! Somehow he makes it out alive. Pack 43 is pinned down quite a bit, as is a lot of the German troops. They're very, very stressed, but not removed and not surrendering. They're never giving up. They're never surrendering. And indeed, now we see the final tank push from Marneus over here just to kind of support his lines and really keep things under control. You do see the Strug has not been resupplied, and indeed he's got no HE ammo left. He's got some AP, but that, of course, was about as good as shooting a mosquito with a cannon, to quote Confucius. Lightning, in the meantime, coming on up. Rockets away, pinning down this infantry, but again, nothing left to back it up. And I'm wondering if we're going to see this guy again get picked off as he retreats. So much of this Allied air cover has just been shattered. Taking a look from Marneus' side of things, he's been just barely outside of that 58% this entire time. And I think he's gonna run the rest of the clock out here. Time remaining is only 1 minute left, and I think he's gonna get that 2,500 points that he was looking for. Allies really squandering a lot of the advantages they had in the later part of the game, and heck, really kind of screwing up the initial positioning. Could have been jumping from hedgerow to hedgerow. to kind of get closer to these anti-tank positions. While the Pak-40 does have HE ammo, you can see it using right over here on the eastern side against the rifles. It can be fought. It can be fought pretty easily, actually, if I may say so myself, if I can suggest myself. But now, as this last group of tanks come on in as our victory parade, and let's just take a nice little look at these guys for a second. Ugh, gorgeous. They rumble off to the front. Actually, one of the first times you see a Stug in modern cinema, or even television for that matter, might actually be Band of Brothers. It's a lot of fun to see. So I'm going to pause the game right here, because that's the end of it right here, folks. By the end score of just about, say, 23-55 to 18, Marneus is going to take this one pretty darn easily, mostly because his opponent didn't utilize the strengths of the 3rd Armored. It was a very, very mechanized push, but not enough. Thank you so much for tuning into this particular game. I do appreciate it. If you guys want to see more of this, I'm totally excited to give it to you. I hope you guys check out Steel Division Normandy 44 as it drops on May 23rd. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Conor signing off. Take it easy, everybody.